Watch this.
It's Friday. You know what that means? We made it through the week. Ahead for you on the 208. DEI continues to be a headline across the U.S. and a headline in the legislature this week. We finally saw the first diversity, equity, and inclusion bill hit the State House. Happened today. This is days after university leaders got grilled with questions about eliminating those departments. Musicians united in a powerful concert in Seattle, Washington, marking International Holocaust Remembrance Day this week, teaching people the importance of remembering through meaningful music. And as we continue beyond the 208, the Kraken Hockey Club unveiled a mesmerizing Lunar New Year jersey where a local artist transformed the team's signature sea monster into a powerful dragon. But there's more to the design that meets the eye. We've been anticipating a DEI bill from our state leaders that would echo a resolution that the State Board of Education passed in December to ban DEI positions and centers on Idaho's public university campuses. Well, today, Senator Ben Tays finally did that. He introduced it in front of the Senate State Affairs Committee. Ironic timing, given the leaders of Idaho's public universities. They gave their budget presentations to state leaders this week, and yes, DEI did come up in those discussions. Some lawmakers had questions about former DEI staff positions and whether or not these changes would be saving the colleges any money. Aspen Shumpert dug into it and tells us all about it.
Diversity, equity, and inclusion isn't just top of mind for President Donald Trump, but also for Idaho lawmakers and higher education administrators.
Our colleges should be a place that is centered on the pursuit of truth.
In addition to a bill banning DEI resources on college campuses introduced Friday, leaders of the state's public universities presented their annual budget to the Joint Finance Appropriation Committee this week.
Welcome to the Joint Finance Appropriation Committee. It is Monday, January 27th.
School leaders were asked about their decision to shut down DEI centers at the end of last year.
The need for support services hasn't changed. The students impacted by the changes are now going to be supported through the same office as everybody else.
For the University of Idaho, retaining staff was important.
We have replaced the eliminated positions with new roles designed to serve all students.
Boise State chose to reassign 3 of their 8 DEI staff members to different roles, eliminating the other 5.
We looked at 113 centers from across the country in 30 different states that were student success centers to really understand what was going to help students be successful and to really rethink the model of the university.
Idaho State University also restructured, shifting its 2 positions to other roles while encouraging an increase in student-led groups.
We recognize that student belonging and a sense of community for all of our students is sometimes best driven by students themselves.
Last year's U of I budget included $1.2 million in expenses for DEI programs. Representative Josh Tanner wondered if closing the centers would save money.
Or are you guys going to just redivert the money to something else?
With resources now shifted to creating centers that support all students, President Green says any savings are minimal.
We never seem to have enough to fully support our students as well as we would like.
In the Senate State Affairs Committee today, that bill the university presidents were anticipating was introduced. The bill's sponsor, Senator Tays, suggested it could save the schools $3.8 million, and that's the total that has been allocated to DEI programs at Idaho's 3 public universities. But Joe, today we heard from those universities that just because maybe that money was going to DEI and now it's not, they're still using the money to now support these centers that are supposed to be supporting all students. So taking a look at some of their budget, that doesn't mean necessarily money is saving. Again, you heard President Green say that was minimal, and President Tays' suggestion might be a little off.
And I know that there was, the critics of DEI saying, well, that shouldn't just be put into certain sections for certain students, which is their point. But as you highlighted, that doesn't mean that the resources are not needed at all. So we'll find out which students really need them. We'll have public testimony soon. Thanks,
That's
Aspen.
Right.
Hey, we got a special edition of Viewpoint coming up Sunday morning at 9 a.m. right here. This week, I welcome the Idaho National Laboratory and the presidents of Idaho's public universities to really talk about a piece of amazing collaboration they put together, joining forces. Boise State, Idaho State, the University of Idaho. It's all a calculated move to partner with INL to merge intellectual firepower with the practical prowess of one of the nation's premier research laboratories, INL. So it's called the Strategic Understanding for Premier Education and Research, the Super Agreement. And it's really going to be ambitious and excited Idaho students working alongside seasoned professors to collaborate, working with INL's veteran researchers. And my guests this week, INL Director John Wagner, Dr. Robert Wagner from the Idaho State University, no relation, by the way, University of Idaho President Scott Green, and Boise State President Dr. Marlene Trump. And Dr. Trump, for example, described on how this partnership will expand the existing work.
Energy Policy Institute, but we have the advanced sensors and instrumentation work that we've been doing, which is related to this material science engineering and thinking about how we develop materials that are more resilient in a nuclear environment. And so we're looking at new ways that we can advance that work, and also looking for new ways to innovate. And it's one of the things that we're most proud of at Boise State is that we're so nimble and adaptive, and innovation is something we've been nationally recognized for. But we're excited to work with INL to think about what kinds of new materials can we produce, what kinds of new strategies can we develop. And so, as President Wagner said, it allows you to focus your energies as a community on thinking about how you really do new things, make new things happen.
So 9 a.m. right here on 7. We got a great show. Another week in the books at the State House. Big ideas and big votes on the table during week 4. Here's a window into the week that was. Lawmakers began the week with one of the most requested topics in Idaho, taking on the taxes for groceries. Under current law, Idahoans receive a $120 credit per person to offset sales tax paid on groceries. House Bill 61 would boost the amount to $155 per person. The bill also introduces a new concept. Idahoans could choose to claim their actual sales tax paid on grocery purchases up to $250 per person if they itemize their receipts. Why not just get rid of the tax altogether?
I think when we repeal it completely, we forego as a state all the money that comes in from out-of-state folks.
House Bill 61 was printed and is waiting for a hearing. Later that day, the Idaho House voted in favor of HJM 1, essentially a strongly worded letter urging the Supreme Court to reconsider the Obergefell v. Hodges case, legalizing same-sex marriage. Supporters say it's about states' rights, but critics say it's a pointless and discriminatory waste of time.
Courts are going to toss it in the trash. It really accomplishes nothing. It's a waste of time and money.
Tuesday marked the introduction of a property tax relief bill to the tune of $100 million. Sponsored by House Speaker Mike Moyle, half of it would come from the expired bond levy equalization program the state ended in 2023. Speaker Moyle wants to take $50 million of it and offer one-time property tax relief to homeowners. The other $50 million would come from online sales tax revenue, but critics worry there's too many cuts on the table.
If we do the property tax relief and the grocery tax and some of the income tax, we could probably do that, but I don't see where we'd have the money for that other stuff. So we're getting kind of at the ceiling there.
The legislation will soon get a full hearing. On Wednesday, what's old was new again. Since 2021, there's been an annual attempt to ban mask mandates in Idaho. The House passed a proposal to do just that. They hope it clears all hurdles this time.
To me, they just got to treat us like adults and ask us to buy in on it. They just can't force us by threatening us with jail time or prohibitive fines.
Thursday saw another potential parental choice tax credit, a redraft of an earlier attempt by the same group of lawmakers. Their new version includes an accountability survey requiring parents to complete a satisfaction and engagement survey about their non-public school experience so that they're eligible for future credits. It also spells out a requirement for non-accredited schooling options to track student growth and achievement in language arts, math, science, and social studies. And that's a legislative wrap. A bridge and highway are closed to avoid a deadly situation, unlike 2 other deadly accidents with Boise ties. Aspen Shumpert tells us about it in today's 411.
Somebody's going to get fried today. If we have to stop that and defer them and move money around to get this done immediately, that needs to happen.
Ada County Highway District voted this morning to shut down the Eckert Road Bridge in Boise immediately. ACHD inspectors found widespread severe decay in the bridge by Barber Park, affecting the bridge's ability to carry traffic safely. The nearest reroute is through Park Center and Baum Crossing.
Fires going through the scene of the collapse structure, trying to identify more victims.
1 year ago today, a hangar under construction collapsed at the Boise airport, killing 3 men and injuring 9 others. Since then, the families of the victims filed a federal lawsuit against the companies involved in the construction, which is still in court, and OSHA cited the contractor, Big D Builders, with multiple safety violations, resulting in a nearly $200,000 fine. But now, the hangar is back under construction with the same contractor as before. Several members of the U.S. figure skating community were on the passenger jet when crashed into an Army Black Hawk helicopter yesterday, killing everyone on board. A Boise family was friends with many of the, quote, bright and talented young athletes who died. The 15-year-old boy was just in Wichita competing in the U.S. Figure Skating Championships. Anyone planning on heading up to Stanley this weekend should be aware. Highway 21 closed at 5 p.m. today because of an avalanche risk, so find an alternative route. The Blaine County Sheriff's Office says they've heard rumors spreading around about U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement raids in the area. The sheriff says his office has contacted ICE directly, which confirmed there are no such operations happening in Idaho right now. And that's the 411 on the 208. I'm Aspen Shumpert.
Tuesday marked 80 years since the liberation of the Nazis' deadliest concentration camp, Auschwitz. Seattle, Washington honored International Holocaust Remembrance Day through powerful music. We're taking comments here on the 208. Anything you saw today, this week, or in general, we want to hear about it. Send it to your number on your screen, 208-321-5614. Send us your name so we can give you credit, and hashtag the 208 so we know it's for us. We'll get to these live at the end of the show. Beyond the 208, this week was International Holocaust Remembrance Day, marking 80 years since the liberation of Auschwitz. At least 1 million people, most of them of the Jewish faith, were murdered at the concentration camp. Music of Remembrance held a free concert called Art from Ashes that happened Tuesday night in Seattle. Photojournalist Taylor Shush from our sister station in Seattle shows us the importance of the concert.
Good evening and welcome to Better Oil.
The Lunar New Year celebration kicked off on Wednesday, but the Seattle Kraken
Good evening and welcome to Benaroya Hall, home of your Seattle Symphony.
When we learned about these songs, I felt a lot of sadness, and I really felt for the people that died during the Holocaust.
Music of Remembrance was founded by Minna Miller 27 years ago to, as I said, honor Holocaust-era musicians, some of whom were murdered in the Holocaust. This is the Music of Remembrance concert in honor of Holocaust Remembrance Day and the freeing of Auschwitz. So this is music that matters.
When we sing the pieces, we feel a lot of the experiences through music. How music can like teach and tell stories. Hi, my name is Ethan Ibsen, and I'm part of the Northwest Boy Choir. The pieces that we're doing are Stiller, Stiller, Stremlem, Fagel, and Frilling. And all of them are part of the Vilna Ghetto songs, which are songs that people would sing in ghettos. As a whole, we learned that most of them are very sad subjects. Like, 2 of them are about a lot of death and all the tragic things that happened during the Holocaust. I think it's important to tell these stories so you can teach people about the events of the Holocaust and how not to repeat the Holocaust again.
The Lunar New Year celebration kicked off on Wednesday, but the Seattle Kraken celebration was last night, and they debuted a unique jersey designed by a local artist who wove in meaning to the Lunar New Year design. Do you have any unique stories you want us to look into here in the 208 or beyond? Text them to us, or text us about anything, hopefully about the show. It's easy. Just send us your questions, comments, concerns, really anything to the number on your screen, 208-321-5614. Please include your name and hashtag the 208, and we're going to get to these live at the end of the show, as many as we can. 3-day celebration of the Lunar New Year kicked off on Wednesday. On day 2 of festivities, the Seattle Kraken hockey team celebrated with a night dedicated to the Lunar New Year, showcasing a unique jersey designed by a local artist. A reporter at her sister station in Seattle found out the meaning behind these winning jerseys.
I've loved to draw since I was a kid.
In all the years of creating art and graphic designs, and despite the dozens of awards she's received,
Here it is.
this moment
Oh my gosh.
might be what makes Shayla Hufana the most proud.
I thought it was a joke when I got the call from the Kraken.
The Seattle artist was chosen by the Kraken to design a specialty jersey for Lunar New Year.
Everything, you know, from the color to the patterns, like everything has a meaning.
The design showcases the year of the snake. She chose a common garter snake to represent her PNW roots.
We want it to look really strong, resilient.
The colors, blue for the ice, red for luck in Asian culture, and the brown representing bamboo used in a traditional dance in her Filipino heritage.
And then the scales themselves, in Filipino tattooing, it stands for the eyes of the ancestors.
Even the anchor on the shoulder symbolizes teamwork and unity.
Here I have 2 snakes circling the Space Needle to create an infinity symbol, or the number 8. And you know, in Asian culture, the number 8, you know, is known to be one of the luckiest numbers.
It's amazing how different these designs are.
From simple sketches to more than 50 iterations, she refined every part of the logo with thought and intention.
How do I want the tongue to hang out? You know, I don't want it to be too playful.
Whether it be public art for the Seattle Storm,
You know, I loved Sue Bird, like growing up.
or a portrait of Dr. King, Hufana's passion is to elevate voices in underrepresented communities. That's part of what's woven into the fabric of this hockey jersey.
I feel like I was able to express myself, what I stand for, and you know, just to share like my beliefs, my culture, our Asian culture, everyone who celebrates Lunar New Year.
The Kraken's Lunar New Year night was part of the Kraken's Common Thread initiative to bring inclusivity and unity and highlight diversity using local art. The jerseys brought the Kraken good luck, by the way. They beat the San Jose Sharks 6-2. The jerseys will be auctioned off, with the proceeds going to the Kraken's philanthropic arm called the One Roof Foundation. By the way, you can watch every Seattle Kraken game live on 24/7. That's channel 7.2. The next game is Sunday at 7 p.m. Mountain Time.
Today is a first alert weather day, and what we really want to stress on this first alert weather day is the hazardous road conditions. Now, we had the first of a series of storm systems coming into our area today, and that rain, snow, and wintry mix is really going to lead to slick roads. Now, when precipitation first hits the roads, the first 15 minutes is actually the slipperiest of that time. Unless there's a hard rainfall that goes and clears out that sleekness, then it's going to continue to stay until it eventually washes away, as those oils are really mixing with that snow or rain and just creating hazardous, slippery conditions. In the mountains, there's going to be especially hazardous conditions because there's snow, there's going to be winds, strong wind gusts blowing the snow and creating really bad visibility overall. This is a look outside right now, and you can see Boise, Sun Valley, McCall all have bad visibility, and that's partially because of the clouds. There could be some snow blowing around up there. Twin Falls isn't looking too bad, but again, those slick roads are not going to make for easy driving conditions. And when rain comes after snow, that could lead to slushy roads as well. Here's a couple of advisories that are in place right now. Here's the Boise Mountains and the West Central Mountains. They have a winter weather advisory in place where driving was noted to be hard to impossible. And winter storm warning in the Central Mountains, where there could be between 6 inches of snow and 3 feet of snow developed. Now, these are both in place until tomorrow night, Saturday night, because those conditions are ever changing right now. And I want to give you a look at the 7-day really quick so that you can see how quickly these conditions are changing and how we are expecting it to be precipitating till Tuesday.
Short for time, let's get right to the comment board. We'll start with this one, Barbie in Boise. Since colleges are not doing DEI, will there be a way to know if the students that were being helped by that DEI will be truly helped now, or will they fall through the cracks? Great question. To be honest, time will tell. Not a great answer, but that's the answer I got. Mike in Meridian says, in favor of diversity, in favor of equality, eliminate the equity part, which is a disincentive, and replace with equality, which is an opportunity provided to all. I could live with that. Mike, appreciate the feedback on that one. Dennis says, food to keep us alive is not taxed in most states. For that reason, even our tourist friends who support our economy should not pay. All right, we'll dive into more laws next week. Have a good weekend.
Continue with us and watch free now on the KTVB Plus app everywhere you stream.